Welcome, curious minds, to the deep dive. Today, we're plunging headfirst into a world of really profound mystery, scientific marvels, and some pretty deep philosophical questions,
Mm.
all born from this inexplicable phenomenon that, well, it basically gripped the entire globe back in the day.
Yeah, you really have to picture it, a time when the oceans were just vast unknowns, holding secrets that seemed completely beyond human grasp.
Exactly. And then imagine one man, just one, who not only dared to uncover these secrets, but actually made the deep sea his home, his, like, defiant, independent kingdom.
It's so much more than just an adventure story, isn't it? It's really a journey into, well, human ingenuity, but also isolation. It's
Yeah.
a look at how we face the unknown, both out there in nature and maybe within ourselves, too.
Precisely. So today, we're taking that deep dive into Jules Verne's iconic 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. And our source material for this, it's coming straight from the novel itself. We're talking actual excerpts from the text.
Which is great, because
Yeah.
it lets us really journey alongside Professor Aronnax's brilliant, maybe a bit naive sometimes.
Right. And Ned Land, the super pragmatic harpooner.
Can't forget Ned. And of course, the man himself, the completely enigmatic Captain Nemo.
So our mission here really is to pull out the most important nuggets of knowledge, the key insights from these pages.
Yeah, we'll be looking at the groundbreaking ideas Verne was playing with, these fascinating, really complex characters he created.
And those questions, right, about humanity, nature, technology, they still feel so relevant today.
Absolutely. So by the end of this, you should have a really thorough understanding of what makes this story, this deep dive, truly legendary, and maybe a little unsettling, too.
Okay, let's get into it. The story really kicks off around 1866, 1867. The whole maritime world, Europe, America, they were in an uproar.
And it wasn't just sailors talking, right?
Yeah.
Governments were involved. Everyone was buzzing about this. Inexplicable phenomenon, as the book calls it. A true global mystery.
Yeah, it really transcended borders, didn't it?
It did. And the accounts, they were surprisingly consistent. You had logbooks from different ships, different oceans, all describing this thing.
What was the description like?
Well, long, spindle-shaped, sometimes glowing or phosphorescent, and huge, much larger than a whale.
Wow.
And the speed. Reports kept mentioning its wonderful speed and this peculiar life it seemed to have. It moved with this almost unnatural grace.
So not like any known creature.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Even the top naturalists back then, the big names in classifying whales and stuff, they wouldn't have even considered something like this existed unless they saw it themselves. It just didn't fit.
Challenged everything they thought they knew.
Completely.
So how did people react? The public, I mean.
Oh, it was fascinating. At first, the newspapers kind of played it down, treated it half seriously, half jokingly.
Right, like a sea serpent story.
Exactly. There was this sense that wit conquered science initially. Someone even wrote a funny piece killing the monster, and apparently everyone had a good laugh, trying to dismiss it, maybe?
Yeah. But that didn't last, did it?
No. The mood shifted pretty dramatically,
Yeah.
from jokes to genuine fear. By early 1867, people weren't calling it a monster so much as an island or rock.
That sounds worse somehow. More solid, more dangerous.
It was. And then came the proof. March 5th, 1867. The Moravian, a steamer, hit something hard. A rock which no chart gave, it said, at 13 knots.
Ouch. Did it do much damage?
Nearly sank the ship. It ripped right through the hull. Over 200 passengers on board. They just saw this big swirl of water afterwards, nothing else.
Yeah.
Terrifying and completely baffling for the crew.
And that wasn't the only incident, right? There was the Scotia, too.
Ah, yes, the Scotia, a Cunard liner, built tough. It felt just a slight shock, but when they checked later in dry dock,
What did they find?
a hole, about 2 yards across. But the way it was made, that's the chilling part. Regular rent in the shape of an isosceles triangle.
What triangle?
Yeah, perfectly shaped. Like something had punched through the iron plate, which was over an inch thick, mind you, and then somehow pulled itself back out.
Whoa. So not a collision, an attack.
That's what it looked like. Precise, surgical, incredibly powerful, and utterly terrifying. That incident that really silenced the doubters. People demanded action.
So enter Professor Aronnax.
Exactly. The perfect man for the job, really. Assistant professor at the Paris Museum of Natural History, already famous for his big book, The Mysteries of the Great Submarine Grounds. He was the expert on the deep sea at the time.
But he was skeptical at first, wasn't he, about this monster?
Oh, absolutely. His initial position was a decided negative. He's a man of science, sticking to what was known, what was classified.
Makes sense.
But the evidence just kept piling up.
Right.
He described himself as being driven into a corner. Eventually, he had to publicly admit the existence of the monster in a big article for the New York Herald.
He kind of had to, didn't he?
Pretty much. Though he admits, kind of amusingly, that he left himself a little loophole in the article just to cover his academic reputation, just in case.
Yeah.
Shows the struggle, right? Reconciling the known with the completely unknown.
How did people react to his article? Did they buy it?
Surprisingly well, actually. Verne notes that people, well, we like these big, grand ideas of supernatural creatures.
True.
But there was a practical side, too. The shipping companies, the insurance guys, they were losing money, premiums were soaring. They weren't interested in debating biology. They wanted this formidable monster gone. Purge the ocean, they said.
So the pressure was building from all sides. Science, commerce, public fear.
Exactly. And that led to the official call to action from the American government, specifically the Secretary of Marine, J.B. Hobson.
And Aronnax got the call.
He did. He read the letter asking for his expertise, asked him to join the expedition, and for him, that was it. His veritable vocation, he called it, his single aim. He dropped everything, even though he was tired from another trip, and just went for it.
Driven by curiosity? Or maybe proving himself right?
Probably a bit of both. It was the chance of a lifetime for a naturalist like him to not just study the mystery, but to hunt it down.
And that sets the stage for the Abraham Lincoln.
A top-of-the-line American frigate, fast, well-armed, commanded by Captain Farragut, a man who was apparently utterly convinced the monster was real and was determined to destroy it.
No messing around.
None at all. The departure from New York sounds incredible. Huge crowds, waving handkerchiefs, ships everywhere. A real spectacle. Everyone knew this was a big deal.
You can feel the anticipation.
Definitely. And then, by 8 that evening, they were out past Fire Island, at full steam onto the dark waters of the Atlantic. The hunt was officially on. Farragut apparently wouldn't even allow anyone on board to doubt the mission. Total focus.
Now, on board that ship, there's a key figure, completely different from Aronnax, Ned Land.
Ah, Ned. The Canadian harpooner. A fantastic character. Verne describes him so vividly about 40, tall, strong, quiet, but passionate, maybe even violent if pushed.
A man of action.
Totally. Aronnax says his eye and arm were like a powerful telescope, which would be a cannon, always ready to fire. Just pure instinct and skill, honed over years at sea. The complete opposite of the academic Aronnax.
But Ned didn't believe in this giant unicorn thing, did he?
Not a bit. He was the ultimate skeptic. He knew whales, he knew the sea, and he insisted no creature could do that kind of damage to ships.
So Aronnax tries to convince him with science.
He does. He gives Ned this little lecture about water pressure. You know how at just 32 feet down, your body is under almost 100,000 pounds of pressure.
Wow.
And it just ramps up incredibly from there. The deepest parts of the ocean, maybe 6 miles down, the pressure would be nearly 100 million pounds. Enough to flatten you instantly.
Okay, that's mind-boggling.
Right. Aronnax lays out these numbers to show that whatever lives down there or goes down there needs incalculable strength.
And what does Ned say to all this science?
Ned, being Ned, just cuts right through it. He hears the numbers and says, basically, okay, fine. If something can handle that, it must be made of 8-inch thick iron plate, like a warship.
Huh? He skips biology and goes straight to engineering.
Exactly. It's incredibly insightful and kind of prosthetic, wasn't it? He dismisses the monster idea and lands on technology even before they've seen anything concrete. Shows his practical genius.
So the chase begins, but it takes a while, right?
Oh, months. They searched the Pacific, crossed into the Atlantic, sailed thousands of miles. Nothing. The monster was incredibly elusive. Ned Land, despite being a skeptic, was always watching. Can you imagine the frustration?
Yeah, the tension must have been building.
Definitely. Until that one night, suddenly, Ned's voice booms out. Look out there. The thing we are looking for on our weather beam.
Finally, what did they see?
Well, first this intense electric light, and then the object itself moving incredibly fast, double the Abraham Lincoln speed.
Electric light. That's not very whale-like.
Not at all. And it seemed to be playing with him. It circled the frigate, bathing it in this weird electric ring like luminous dust, then shot off miles away, leaving this phosphorescent trail like a train's steam.
Okay, that's definitely not an animal.
Right. It was clearly something controlled, something engineered, moving with a power and precision that just defied nature.
So did they try to attack it?
Oh, yeah. Farragut ordered the cannon fired, but the shells just bounced off. clanged right off its hide.
Confirming Ned's iron plate theory.
Pretty much.
Ugh.
Aronnax mentions the sound confirming 6-inch iron plates, utterly impenetrable. The frigate was powerless against it.
What happened then?
The object turned, rushed straight at them with frightful rapidity, stopped dead, and then his light just winked out, plunged them into darkness with this massive thing right there. Collision seemed unavoidable.
And Ned, what was he doing?
Sharpening his harpoon, ready for a fight, even against whatever this was, machine or not, he was going to try.
And then the collision.
Yep, a huge impact. The Abraham Lincoln's rudder was smashed. The ship basically tripled. And in the chaos, Aronnax, his servant Conseil, and Ned Land were all thrown overboard.
Into the dark ocean. Wow.
Aronnax describes being dragged down maybe 20 feet, waterlogged, struggling. That terrifying feeling of sinking into the abyss, a moment of pure vulnerability.
So they're in the water, the ship's damaged. What happens next? How do they find the thing?
Well, Aronnax is thrashing around, desperate, and his foot hits something solid, hard, makes this metallic sound. And Ned Land, sharp as ever, immediately gets it. He yells out, it's an immense steel fish, basically. Says it must have a locomotive machine and a crew inside of it.
The monster is a machine, the big reveal.
Exactly. And Aronnax, the scientist, quickly pieces it together, too. He realizes there must be an opening somewhere for air, otherwise how could people be inside? It confirms Ned's deduction. This wasn't a biological marvel, it was a technological one.
It was fast, right, even after the collision.
Incredibly fast. They realize it's moving at 12 miles an hour, its propeller churning up phosphorescent water. It was clearly an artificial vessel, way beyond anything they knew. Aronnax finally understands the strange humming sounds he'd heard earlier during the chase. It was the sound of its engines.
So now they're stranded, clinging to this submarine. Which brings us to Captain Nemo.
Yes, the heart of the mystery.
Yeah.
Their first encounter with him is really striking. Aronnax is immediately impressed by his presence, his self-confidence, his calmness, but also his underlying energy and courage.
And his eyes. There was something about his eyes.
Yeah, Aronnax notes they seemed almost superhuman, able to take in nearly a quarter of the horizon at once.
Yeah.
Better vision even than Ned Land, which is saying something. He just radiates command, mystery.
How does he greet them? What's the first impression?
Chilling, honestly. He immediately establishes his complete independence. He tells them flat out, I am not what is called a civilized man. I have done with society entirely. Therefore, I do not obey its laws.
Wow. Just lays it out there.
Completely. He says he has the right to treat you as enemies, but offers them a choice between life and death. He makes it clear their imprisonment is purely to protect himself, to guard his secrets.
And that's when he gives his name.
Yes, Captain Nemo, which of course means no one in Latin. Right away it signals who he is or wants to be. This isolated, Byronic figure, brilliant, suffering, living outside all norms, driven by something hidden.
So they're prisoners, but prisoners on this incredible vessel, the Nautilus. Let's talk about the technology. It was all electric.
Astoundingly so. Nemo proudly calls electricity the powerful, obedient, rapid, and easy agent, the light, warmth, and soul of his ship. Now remember, this is the 1860s. Electricity was new, mostly experimental.
Right, like telegraphs and maybe some very basic lights.
Exactly. Nemo's vision of it, powering everything on the scale, propulsion, life support, lighting, cooking, was incredibly radical, way ahead of its time. It wasn't just a plot device. It was a serious prediction about the future of energy.
Where did he get all this electricity? From the sea itself?
That's what he claims. He says he finds undersea mines of zinc, iron, silver, and gold, and uses the sea alone to produce his power. He mentions using Bunsen's elements, which were actual batteries back then.
But scaled up massively.
Hugely. The science is grounded in reality, but the scale and application are pure Verne genius. It makes the fantasy feel plausible, you know.
The details inside sound amazing, too. The clock.
Yeah, the electric clock running on 24 hours, because for Nemo, there's neither night nor day, sun nor moon. Small detail, but it speaks volumes about their detachment from the surface world's rhythms.
And gauges for speed and depth.
All electrically connected.
Yeah.
Very advanced automation for the time. And the specs Verne gives for the Nautilus, its length, volume, displacement. They're incredibly precise. 232 feet long, displacing 1,500 tons.
That's huge for an early submarine idea.
Massive. Early subs were tiny, experimental things. Verne imagined this underwater behemoth, and his understanding of how it worked, filling tanks to dive, emptying them to rise, using hydroplanes to control movement, it was based on sound physics. anticipating real submarine development.
It could even rise vertically like a balloon.
According to Nemo, yes. By using the screw and water pressure, it's a really sophisticated speculative engineering. Makes his predictions feel uncanny.
And Nemo designed and built it all himself, or supervised it.
He oversaw it, using his studies from London, Paris, and New York. But the construction itself was fascinatingly covert. He had different parts built all over the world. The keel in France, the engine in Germany, plates in England, the prow in Sweden.
Wow, a global supply chain.
Exactly. All sent to him secretly under aliases. He assembled it piece by piece, completely off the grid. It really emphasizes that idea of the technological sublime awe at this amazing machine, but also a bit of dread that one person could wield such power totally outside of any state's control.
It wasn't just a ship, though. It was like a whole world, right? Self-sufficient.
Completely. Nemo boasts, "The sea supplies all my needs." And he means it literally. They fish, they hunt, game of submarine forests.
Submarine forest.
Yeah. And the food sounds exotic. Aronnax lists things like conserve of holothuria, that's sea cucumber cream furnished by the cetacea, whale milk, presumably sugar by the great fucus, seaweed, even anemone preserve.
Okay, maybe not Gordon Ramsay, but sustainable.
Definitely sustainable.
Hmm.
Even their clothes, Nemo says, are made from materials found in the sea. Total independence.
And the inside spaces, the library.
Oh, incredible.
Yeah.
A huge saloon lined with 6,000 or 7,000 books. Science, ethics, literature in every language, but pointedly, Nemo tells Aronnax, not a single work on political economy.
Making a statement there.
Absolutely. A
Yeah.
complete rejection of surface world systems. And next to the library, a museum with paintings by master artists and this amazing shell collection Nemo gathered himself. It's a self-contained cultural and intellectual world.
But despite all this wonder, there's that constant tension. Freedom versus captivity.
Huge theme. For Nemo, the Nautilus is freedom. Live in the bosom of the waters. There alone is independence, he cries. Keeping Aronnax and the others is, in his mind, just self-preservation. He's created his own sovereign space.
But for Aronnax,
Even with access to the library and all these wonders, he feels the loss of liberty acutely. He's caught in this weird space guest, hostage, scientific observer, prisoner.
and Ned Land is having none of it.
Oh, Ned's the voice of dissent, loud and clear. He hates this iron prison. He misses real food, meat, real game. He's constantly complaining, constantly plotting escape. He represents that basic human need for the surface, for connection, maybe suggesting Nemo's world isn't sustainable for everyone.
It's like he's the anchor to the world they left behind.
Exactly. He keeps things grounded, in a way.
So the Nautilus allows them to explore this deep ocean world like never before. Tell us about the excursions, the diving suits.
Yeah, these were another piece of Verne's predictive genius. Heavy copper helmets, compressed air tanks allowing them to stay underwater for 9 or 10 hours, and even electric guns for defense.
Electric guns underwater.
Yeah.
In the 1860s.
Incredible, right? And Aronnax describes walking on the seabed, lit by the Nautilus's powerful beams, seeing everything clearly like walking through an alien landscape on a dazzling carpet.
What kind of life did they see down there?
All sorts. He notes how plant life disappears faster than animal life as they go deeper. They see strange creatures, giant crabs, other terrible animals. It's portrayed as this completely different realm, pushing the boundaries of what was known about biology.
And Nemo has his own philosophy about the ocean.
Very much so. He sees it as a living entity. He talks about its pulse and arteries, its circulation, referencing the real oceanographer Matthew Fontaine-Maury. He sees it as having life more intense than that of continents.
He sounds almost reverent.
He does. He shows the Aronnax phenomena like the Milk Sea, vast stretches of glowing microorganisms, emphasizing the ocean's dynamism and, well, its mystery.
But then there's the coral cemetery. That sounds incredibly poignant.
It really is. It's a powerful moment. One of the Nautilus crew members dies, and instead of burial at sea in the usual sense, they take him to this specific place, a clearing in a submarine forest made of coral.
And bury him there.
Yes. Nemo explains that the living coral, the polyps, will eventually encase the body, sealing him within the reef itself. Free from the corruption of land, they sleep in coral, he says.
Wow. That's beautiful and kind of eerie.
It is. And Aronnax observes Nemo struggling to hold back tears during the ceremony. It's this glimpse of deep humanity, profound grief from this man who claims to be detached from everything. Aronnax realizes Nemo hasn't entirely killed his own heart. It creates this incredible tension with his later actions.
That moral ambiguity seems central to Nemo, like with the pearl fishery.
Exactly. He takes Aronnax to see a traditional pearl fishery in the Indian Ocean. Verne describes the harsh reality for the divers, the physical dangers, the risk of death, the tiny payment they receive for finding pearls, all for the vanity and caprice of the rich.
Setting up a contrast.
A huge contrast, because then Nemo shows Aronnax's private oyster bed containing this unbelievable pearl as large as a coconut worth millions. He casually mentions his underwater mines are inexhaustible. He possesses immense wealth gathered secretly from the ocean floor.
And then he saves one of the divers from a shark.
Yes, a really dramatic scene. A shark attacks one of the poor Indian divers, and Nemo, without hesitation, dives in with just a dagger and fights it off, killing the shark. An act of incredible bravery, almost reckless compassion.
So he condemns exploitation but hoards wealth, yet risks his life for an exploited individual. He's complicated.
Deeply complicated. That's what makes him so compelling. Is he driven by justice, by ego, by some code only he understands?
And where does all this wealth go? We find out in Vigo Bay, right?
We do. Nemo reveals he's been salvaging treasure from the Spanish galleons sunk there during a battle in 1702. A historical event tied to colonial power struggles. He's literally taking what men have lost.
And using it for
His immense charity. He sends millions, he claims, to support oppressed races, people fighting for freedom. They even see the Nautilus near Crete, which was revolting against the Ottoman Empire at the time.
So he's funding rebellions, anti-colonialism.
That's the implication. It's a strong political statement. Apparently, Verne's original manuscript made this even clearer. Nemo was meant to be a Polish noble whose family was killed by Russians, making his vengeance very specific. But it got censored.
Interesting. So the anti-imperialism is definitely there, but maybe softened slightly.
Right, but it clearly fuels his actions and his hatred for certain nations.
Okay, let's move deeper now into real isolation and confrontation. Atlantis. He finds Atlantis.
He takes Aronnax there, yes. A submarine walk through this eerie, petrified forest. Dead trees, leafless, sapless, mineralized. It's incredibly atmospheric.
And there are ruins.
Yes, illuminated by an active underwater volcano spewing lava. They see this ruined city, skeletons of ancient animals. Aronnax literally walks over the bones of a lost world.
And the volcano, is it real?
Well, Nemo later reveals it's where his crew mines submarine coal fields. The smoke from their mining operations makes it look like an active volcano from the surface. A clever disguise and another source of fuel for his electric Nautilus. It connects to myths about fallen civilizations, but also serves a very practical purpose for him.
From Atlantis to the South Pole. That sounds insane.
Aronnax certainly thinks so. Nemo announces his plan to reach the geographical South Pole, a point no one had ever reached. Aronnax calls it absolutely insane.
But Nemo is confident.
Utterly. He believes the Nautilus, with its reinforced prow, can smash through the icebergs. He even explains the physics how most of an iceberg's mass is underwater. He sees it as a challenge, but achievable.
And they make it.
They do. On March 21st, 1868, Nemo uses the specific position of the sun on the horizon at noon, cutting it exactly in half to confirm they are at the precise South Pole. A moment of incredible triumph. He plants his black flag there.
Victory. But then,
Trouble.
almost immediately, the ice closes in. The Nautilus gets completely trapped in an ice tunnel, hundreds of feet thick. Oh no! Trapped under the ice. How do they breathe?
That becomes the critical problem. The air supply starts running out, getting thick with carbon dioxide. People are suffocating. It's a desperate situation.
How does Nemo handle it? Panic.
Not Nemo. He stays calm, relies on science. His plan is ingenious. Pump boiling water outside the hull to slowly melt the surrounding ice, raising the temperature just enough to weaken it.
Does it work?
It helps, but it's slow. The crew also has to manually hack away at the ice barrier with pickaxes, working in shifts in freezing, oxygen-deprived conditions. It's brutal.
Shows their loyalty, though.
Incredible loyalty, or maybe just desperation. Then Nemo plays his final card. He rapidly lightens the Nautilus's ballast tanks, making it shoot upwards, using its buoyancy to smash through the weakened ice ceiling above them.
A gamble.
A huge gamble, but it works. They burst free, escaping at incredible speed. It's a stunning display of his engineering skill and nerve, but also highlights how close they came to disaster. A real price for pushing boundaries.
But the ocean isn't done with them yet. The giant squid.
Ah, yes. One of the most famous scenes. They encounter a whole school of giant squid, or krakens. Verne describes them in terrifying detail, colossal dimensions, 30 feet long or more, those huge, unblinking green eyes, and the 8 thrashing arms lined with suckers.
A real monster battle.
Absolutely. The crew has to go out onto the deck with axes and harpoons to fight them off hand to tentacle. It's chaos. And tragically, one of the crew members, a Frenchman, gets grabbed by a tentacle.
Oh, God.
Nemo tries to save him, hacks at the tentacle, but it's too late. The man is dragged down into the depths by a squid. A horrific loss.
How does Nemo react this time? We saw him grieve at the coral cemetery.
He's devastated. Aronnax sees him weeping openly afterwards, overcome with immense grief. It's the second man he's lost since Aronnax boarded. It really underscores the danger and the personal cost of his life. It feels like nature hitting back, doesn't it? A chaotic, uncontrollable force against his ordered technological world.
And this loss seems to precede his darkest act, the sinking of the warship.
Yes, the timing feels significant. They sight a warship, and Nemo identifies it instantly. He calls it the Vengeur the Avenger. He seems to know it, maybe even anticipate it.
And his reaction.
Pure, terrifying fury.
Yeah.
Aronnax describes his face as pale, his eyes contracted, his voice roaring. He calls it a ship of accursed nation. There's no hesitation, no internal conflict apparent now.
He decides to sink it, just like that.
I am going to sink it, he declares. He tells Aronnax chillingly, the attack has been made. The repulse will be terrible. He forces Aronnax to watch, making him complicit.
How do they sink it?
The Nautilus uses its ramming trowel. It strikes the warship, which goes down quickly, pulling the crew with it into the vortex. A brutal, calculated act of destruction.
And afterwards, does Nemo show remorse?
Not remorse, perhaps, but something else. Aronnax sees him retreat to his cabin, looking intensely at a portrait of a young woman and two small children. He reaches out towards them.
His lost family.
It seems almost certain. This is the clearest glimpse we get into the personal trauma, the deep loss that fuels his rage, his isolation, his entire war against the surface world. It doesn't excuse his actions, but it provides a heartbreaking context. He's an avenger, driven by grief.
Which leads to the final escape attempt. Ned Land must be desperate now.
Absolutely frantic. We are going to fly, he tells Aronnax. He senses a change on the Nautilus, a kind of stupor, as if Nemo himself is lost in his grief or planning something final.
Does Aronnax agree to go? He's been hesitant before.
This time, yes. The sinking of the Vengeur seems to be the final straw. He feels involuntary horror towards Nemo. Though he still can't bring himself to confront Nemo directly, the need to escape outweighs his scientific curiosity now.
And their escape route takes them into the Maelstrom.
The legendary, terrifying whirlpool off the coast of Norway. The book questions whether Nemo steered into it deliberately or if it was an accident caught in its pull.
The ultimate test of the Nautilus. Or maybe Nemo's chosen end.
It's ambiguous, but the experience is described as sheer terror. The monstrous and irresistible waves, the power of attraction pulling everything in for miles, the deafening roar, the feeling of being spun helplessly.
How do they survive that?
Well, the narrative cuts off there, really.
Yeah.
Aronnax describes the sensation of the boat they escaped in breaking free, hitting his head and losing consciousness. The next thing he knows, he, Ned, and Conseil have washed ashore on a remote Norwegian island. The fate of the Nautilus and Captain Nemo remains, at the end of this book, unknown, lost in the Maelstrom's fury.
Wow. What an incredible journey. From that initial global mystery to being spat out of the Maelstrom, we've seen Nemo's genius, his isolation, his grief, his vengeance.
It really forces you to grapple with those big themes Verne weaves in, doesn't it? That constant push and pull between human ingenuity, Nemo's mastery of the Nautilus, and the raw, untamable power of the ocean, like the squid or the Maelstrom. Can we ever truly control nature?
Or do we just find ways to survive within it? And the whole exploitation versus preservation thing. Nemo hates surface world empires, but he's taking resources, fighting his own war.
It's messy. He uses sunken treasure, the spoils of colonialism, to fund anti-colonial struggles. Is it justice, hypocrisy? Both. And the ocean itself is this alien world, beautiful and terrifying. How should we relate to something so powerful and other?
Then there's the freedom versus captivity paradox. The Nautilus is Nemo's ultimate freedom, his escape.
His self-imposed exile, yeah.
But it's a prison for Aronnax, Ned, Conseil. It makes you question what freedom really means. Is Nemo truly free if he's trapped by his past, his need for revenge?
That's a great question. Is he a liberator or just a different kind of captive?
And the science. Verne's predictions are just astounding. Electricity, diving suits, the submarine itself.
Mind-blowing for the 1860s.
Yeah.
But then there's the ethical side. Aronnax is thrilled by the discoveries, the science.
Yeah, he's like a kid in a candy store cataloging fish while Nemo sinks ships.
Right. Does knowledge justify ignoring the human cost? Should Nemo's discoveries have been shared, or was keeping them secret, using them for his vendetta, the only way for him? It raises huge questions about science and responsibility.
And Nemo himself. This isolated genius, the Byronic hero, brilliant, suffering, secretive.
Driven by that unseen trauma, symbolized by the portrait, and
Yeah.
Aronnax gets caught up in it, his admiration blinding him for a long time. Ned Land provides that essential counterpoint, the pragmatic human distrustful of this underwater obsession.
Even the crew, are they loyal followers or just trapped like everyone else?
Their quiet funeral rite suggests a community, but they follow Nemo into battle without question.
It leaves so much unanswered about them. So yeah, the central question remains. Nemo, hero, villain, eco-terrorist, tragic victim,
He saves the pearl diver, shows deep grief for his crewmen,
and ruthlessly sinks a ship full of sailors. He's a knot of contradictions. A man using incredible gifts born from immense suffering to wage war, yet finding peace only in the ocean's depths.
which brings us back to Aronnax's final thought, right? That quote, "That which is far off and exceeding deep, who can find it out?" It's perfect. Only Nemo and Aronnax truly ventured into those depths, physical and maybe psychological, and even they didn't fully comprehend it all.
So maybe the final thought for you listening is, as we think about the unexplored parts of our world, or even the unexplored parts of ourselves, what depths are still out there for you to explore?
And what secrets might they hold? What would finding them mean? It's a powerful place to leave us pondering.